lights on, open up the doors, bring out the trains. Close the doors. Welcome to Harborne Double Low. This is the works so far of the layout, so I'll put the lights on and we'll show you inside how it works. The main carcass is made out of something called grey board, 1500 micron, or in old terms 1.5 millimetres. It was cut out using the Cricut cutting machine. I find it's best to rather cut right through the cardboard, is cut through quite a bit and just finish it off using a razor blade to finish it. I've got the roof lights put in place here, and I've also got the windows down here as well. At the moment I have designed these and I've started to print them off using a SLA printer, or resin printer. Let's pop the roof off and have a look inside. With the roof, it's held on with these magnets. Designed them myself, printed them off, and you just pop in a little magnet, 6mm magnet on your side, and it plugs into the roof. So the inside is done with these steels, internal steels. These were also designed and printed off on a filament printer. And as for the control system, I use the DCC Next. At the moment I've got the 6 servos plugged in and also 2 lights. The lights are functioning so they don't come on instantly, they warm up, and then when you switch them back off again, the same again, it cools down. As such. Now with the DCC Next, I'll still have 8 ports left in it for additional lights and things I want to add at a later time. With the internal steels as well, I did print off these things here inside the steels, so at a later date I can add a bridge crane or a gantry crane inside the model as well. So I'll focus in a little bit more on the mechanism for the doors and let you see on how they work. With the doors, I started off using a filament gear which wasn't very good. I didn't get enough detail in the fine print for the spline to hold on the servo, so I went to a resin print for the gears for the door, and you do get a fantastic bit of detail for the splines for the servos using the resin printer. As for the rack, it's just a bit of filament printer for the rack, and the frame as well was also used, also done by the filament printer. And as you can see, it's just a basic rack and pinion system that moves the doors up and down. There was a bit of work to get the doors inside the height. I didn't want the model to be too high, but you had to make a bit of sacrifice to get them up to this height. So I'll take you over to the computer and I'll show you how I designed it using a new program for me, something called Fusion 360. So this is the new bit of software I'm using. It's done by AutoCAD. It's called Fusion 360. It is free for a non-commercial use, i.e. hobbyists. You're allowed to pick up to $1,000, I think, before you need to start paying an annual or monthly fee to use the software, which is around about £500 a year for the license for it. So for the hobbyist, It's free to use, and it is, to say the least, a bit of a learning curve. So I've opened up my design for the model. We can see where we go with it. This is the background to it, and you get over here, you get different parts you do with the model. So we started with the floor. So I'll zoom out a little touch, let you see the floor. The floor has been done by styrene, 1mm styrene, cut by the Cricut car. Again, not too bad. The next thing I designed was the front elevation, which is using the 1.5 card or grey board. It is doubled up to give a total of 3mm thickness for the grey card. So I've got the front, I've also got the rear inside as well. So, and the outside. And the individual parts. So if I just zoom in there, you can see how it's been doubled up, and also built into it is the cuts as well, so it doesn't interfere with each one. So that's the sides done in the cardboard. For the steels, I'll take these away first. With the steels there, it's been designed using the Fusion as well there, and as I said before, I've got these little parts here built into the model, so if a future date I want to put my bridge crane in, I can do so. Also in this model here, if I right click on it, then I can save it as a STL, so I can then transfer it to the printer for printing on the Ender 3. That's for the 3D printing the STL file. You could also do the export STL file for the windows and things like that. The finer details there for resin printer as well. You do see that it's a STL file as well. Also in here as well, if I close all these down, to hold the DCC next in the roof there, I designed this little bracket, and using the thread command in Fusion 360, you can actually put thread in. This is an M3 thread to hold the unit in place using M3 bolts. It did print out okay in the filament printer. I could have, of course, done this with the resin printer as well to get a bit more fine detail for the thread, but the filament printer done a fine job, and I managed to get the threads printed off no problem with it. So now there's the mag locks, as I call them, a little magnetic locking device to lock the roof in place. It's just a simple design, put a little hole in it for the magnets sitting on top of it. I have also designed the windows and the roof window as well. I'll just let you see them. The side window's been designed, and also the roof window up the top here. That's been designed as well. I've got to make a little change to the roof light. I'm not quite happy with it. And these are going to be printed off using the SLA printer or the resin printer. For the resin printer, I use something called Lychee to do the slicing. I'll let you see that as well. So this is the Lychee slicer. I've got the windows all in place there. I'm going to do 5 at a time, and they'll be done with the resin printer as well. So hopefully I'll print out not too bad. I've had quite a good response so far from the resin prints. So that's the Lychee for the resin print. On the front elevation there, the cards there, I've got an extra long mat for the Cricut cutter, and if you go to tools, I've downloaded a little add on to Fusion. It's one of these machines that cuts out your wood for you, but basically it also exports things as a SVG file, so you can cut it using the Cricut. So if I open that up, select the body there and click OK, that'll export it as an SVG file, so I can cut it out on my Cricut cutter. So on for the frame for the door mechanism there. The first frame is this one here. As you can see, I'll put in so we can view it. And it's just a simple design for the door itself. I did add this part here in just for printing's sake, give it a bit of structure and aided to the print. All you need to do is cut this part off once it's done. So that's the first frame for the double door, the single frame. So it's two doors on it. This little part here is where the base goes on for the servo, which I'll show you now. This is the base for the servo. It's got the little groove built into it, and it's also got the holes pre-drilled to mount it, and also for the servo as well. I'll take you back and I'll show you the rack. So that's the rack been printed off and designed in there. It is also an add-in to Fusion 360, the rack and pinion. This part here, if you went to your tools and you went to add-ins and Fusion 360 App Store, you get your add-ins there. So you get all different types of ones there, helical gear generators, etc, etc. The add-in I put in there was a helical rack. So if I go to search and just put helical gears, up it comes. That's how you add your gear in. It's quite important for your module there. You put the same module for each gear and also the rack as well. So you can have external rack, you can have an external gear, internal gear, a rack. As long as you make sure that each one's got the same module, and it will line up. Also the angle there, I set mine to a 0. You can do herringbone angles as well in your rack and pinion and your gears. I decided to stick to the straight gears for my layout. So that's the rack. Next I'll show you the gear. So this is the gear here. The same again, it's just been designed using the same add-in on the Fusion 360 for the gear, making sure it's got the same module for each tooth. And as you can see, the spline has got some great detail in there for the servo mount, and using the resin printer there, it comes out in fantastic detail. It does give the servo something to bite into before it'll strip the gears off the model. Well, that's the latest on the Scratch Build new engine shed or stroke maintenance depot. I have received the styrene embossed plastic card from Pete's Spares. That's the next thing on the layout. Health-wise, I'm getting better, nearly up to full strength again, so hopefully get a bit more modelling done. So thanks for watching, folks. Goodbye.